What's going on, YouTube? This is OCD for EDC, and what I've got for your face balls today is a knife that, yeah, a lot of people are wanting, and certainly had quite a bit of hype around it. So this is the DLT trading exclusive Para 3 lightweight in M390. So let's just get into it. So you got the standard books and shit from Spyderco. You get this extra paper with the exclusives, and then your standard Spyderco box and the paperwork on the Para 3 lightweight. So let's get into this guy here. This one comes in red FRN instead of the traditional black. This happens to be a collector club model, number 16. So that's how I got my hands on this guy. No way was I going to fight the hordes of people trying to get it from DLT. So because this is a Para 3 lightweight, and everybody I'm pretty sure is familiar with the Para 3 lightweight, you can see there it's the same size as the Para 3 lightweight. The other thing that I've got that's a really good size representation, it's actually almost identical in measurements in every way, which we're going to talk about this guy. This is the Tucson TS-134 Shockwave. It's a tepe design, and yeah, just a really great knife. So you can see they're pretty much identical as far as dimensions are concerned, but we'll get back to this guy in a few minutes. So what we're looking at here on the Para 3 lightweight, for those that don't know, we got an overall length of 7.21 inches. Got a handle length of just a tiny bit under 4.3 inches, like 4.28 or 4.29 inches. You got an overall blade length of just under 3. It's 2.92. But you can see here you got this forward choil area, so you really only have a cutting length of about 2.5, or I guess actually I don't even remember exactly what it is. Let's see what we got here. Let's make sure this is zeroed, and let's see what we have here. It's kind of hard to do this on camera. So yeah, 2.685. So 2 5/8 is your cutting edge on there. And of course, this is in M390, and this is a Golden Colorado model. So I can't imagine that there's anyone out there that would watch this video that doesn't, or that's not already familiar with the Para 3, but it is a compression lock knife. You do have the deep carry wire clip, which that's a big improvement over the original Para 3. And of course the FRN handles. So, the red on this guy, I mean, it's really more of a maroon color. Everybody's familiar with Spyderco's red on their boxes. You can see there how different that is. Personally, it would be nice if they made, an actual red plastic. But yeah, it looks okay. Not my favorite color, but it's fine. So really, it's identical to the standard Para 3 lightweight. That's what this guy is. Standard model comes in CTS BD1N steel, and then you can see there I've added a sharpening choil. However, I have not done that on this guy. So you do not get a sharpening choil, and you can see that the secondary bevel there stops right before the little guard on the front choil. Otherwise, dimensionally, you got a thickness here of 4.55 inches. The height of this guy in the closed position right here, for as small and lightweight as this knife is, it's actually really large in this dimension. It's over 1.5 inches. It's 1.645 is what it measures here. So it does take up quite a bit of room in your pocket. It is really light, so that part's good. Blade height in the open position here, you've got 1.3 inches. And the blade stock on this guy's 142 thousandths. It is full flat ground blade, kind of just traditional Spyderco in that way. And behind the edge thickness here is an unsurprising 22 thousandths. You know, in my opinion, this knife would be much better suited with like 90 thousandths blade stock and a behind the edge thickness of, you know, somewhere between 10 and 15 thousandths would be really nice to see. But, you know, you get what you get, I guess. So let's get a weight on this guy. So what we're looking at here is basically 2.4 ounces. You know, for 2 5/8 cutting edge, you know, basically a 3-inch blade, I guess, or just under 3 inches. You know, it's not horrible, but it's not bug out light, that's for sure. So anyway, I just wish they would have done thinner blade stock and a little more aggressive grind on this guy. You know, action is what you would expect for this knife. It's just like the other Para 3 lightweight that I have. I am going to open this guy up just to see if they made any changes. I don't know of any. So what you're looking at here is a T10 on the pivot, and then you've got this little screw right here, which is your blade stop pin. This one is a T6. So, you know, in true Spyderco fashion, you can see there's some thread locker. And then this body screw right here is a T8. So they're getting all the sizes in here, which, you know, is fine. But just makes it a little more complex. I like it when they're, you know, just all T8s or T10s or whatever. Just makes it a little nicer. But anyway, and the pocket clip screw is also a T8. So let's get these out of the way here. And all right. So you can see the little, or we'll check this out first. So you've got your lock bar and your detent there. Just a steel detent ball. And, you know, the construction on this guy is pretty nice, really. I'm not a huge fan of FRN, but this is pretty well done. The texturing on this guy is nice and certainly better than older FRN handles that were coming out of Golden. But you can see here, you know, they've made D-shaped screws and stuff, which is always nice. So then on this side of the pivot, let's see if we can get that popped off there. So you've got this little liner here with a phosphor bronze washer, and it sits in here just like that right there. And then on the opposite side, it just rides on the FRN. It does have those, you know, this ring right here, and it's got the little cutouts, which is nice. If you get any debris or anything in there, it's going to catch that. But you can see here on the tang of the blade, they do have a detent ball ramp, which is kind of surprising. I don't know on the standard one. Oh yeah, it does have a detent ball ramp as well, so you can see it right in there. That's nice to see. But you know, pretty standard Spyderco construction here. Nothing crazy. So you do have a nice pivot bushing there. You know, so that's nice. And then you can see here how the compression lock works. The lock bar fits between right in that gap right there. So yeah. Anyway, so construction is just all pretty standard. I'm going to go ahead and put this back on. I think that'll be easier. So, about this knife. You know, Spydercos are, you know, certainly make good quality stuff. And, you know, in today's world, there's just so much stuff being made from so many different manufacturers. You know, it's really kind of like drinking from a fire hose with how much stuff is coming out these days. One of the things that, you know, I really wish Spyderco would get a little better with their value. They're certainly one of the biggest companies in the knife game, and I feel like they have the ability to make some of these a little bit better value. But it is what it is. People are still buying them, so I'm sure they're until the sales slow down, pricing is not going to change. So, it's still a nice knife and I like it. I enjoy it for sure. But when you compare it to some other stuff out there, I feel like you can, if you're just looking for a really good tool, you can get something that is better materials, better construction for the money, and that's a little loose. Get this tightened up here. All right, now we got no blade play. Oh, too tight. Just barely, ever so slightly. So now it's just, yeah, it's a little bit tight, but no blade play there. So yeah. Anyway, so a prime example of what I'm talking about here. This Tucson, this is a TS 134. This is designed by Sean from Tepe Designs. I'm pretty sure Northern California, like the Bay Area, San Francisco area. And this is a great design. You've got all milled titanium handles. And this one obviously is anodized in purple. It comes in several different colors. But so this one also is sporting Bowler M390. And I've actually done cut test with this very same knife. It did extremely well. I'm not saying that the M390 here is better than Spyderco's, because I've seen some Spyderco's do really well, but I would say that Tucson's M390 is certainly better than the shit I've been seeing coming out of Italy. So, for a Chinese manufacturer, I think they do a decent job with M390, and certainly, for the money, it's definitely worth it. So this particular knife, the Shockwave, what you're looking at here is almost identical in every single dimension except for weight. So, the lightweight, except for weight, and you can see how much different they are in how much real estate they're going to take up in the pocket. So the Shockwave's much smaller in the pocket. Thickness here, this guy's 4.55. Let's take a look at the Shockwave. So you're just over a ½ inch, so it's slightly thicker there. But in length, here, let's, so what do we got? 4.284. Oop. Hard to do this on camera. 4.29, so almost identical in closed length. On the blade here, you got 2.903. .975. So as you can see, these two knives are very, very similar in dimensions. They have the same exact blade steel from the same manufacturer. Both are Bowler M390. Both have a forward finger choil. Both have, although they're very different blade shapes, they're almost identical. It doesn't look like it there, but let me do it this way. You can see there that they're almost identical in cutting length, although, the cutting edge on this guy is much, much different shape. And honestly, I do like the thumb ramp on the Para 3. That's a nice feature for sure. But right here, it's so narrow and thin. Let's see what that measures here. So you're looking at 0.84. And in this guy here, 0.84. So they're honestly, yeah, I'm kind of shocked by that. I guess maybe just because this is, here, let me show you. The Shockwave is contoured, so that's probably the difference that I'm feeling there. But in my hand, when I hold these like this finger on the Para 3, I'm not touching the knife here. So it feels like I'm gripping back here and of course here in my thumb. So I got the pinch grip up here and I've got these two fingers and they fit, in this area on the pocket clip really well, which is nice. My finger lines right up with that. So it's comfortable. So, in the left hand, when you have the clip in the right carry position, or right-handed carry position, it works well. On the Tucson, on the other hand, this finger does touch the knife there. And, it just, it's got a fat ass on it, on the Tucson. So it really kind of fills the hand nicely. Both feel very similar in hand, but the contour of these scales and the fat ass on that knife, really, it just works well. I would like it if it had a little bit of a thumb ramp up here, but I understand why it doesn't. Really comfortable knife though. And again, we're talking full titanium construction, titanium backspacer, titanium pocket clip, ceramic bearings, and really nice surface ground washers that have a bearing track in them, which is super nice. You've got a ceramic detent ball. You have a hardened steel lock bar insert with an over travel stop. Just really nicely done. You've got a detent ball ramp you can see right there. So this knife really has all the bells and whistles, and it's got a hole in the blade that you can do the Spidey flick. And of course it's got a flipper tab. The blade rockets out. The only downside to this knife is the weight. So you can see that this thing is all titanium and it's a little thicker blade stock. So where this is, was it 142 thousandths blade stock on the Shockwave, we got 152. So 10 thousandths thicker blade stock. But you look there, 4.5 ounces. So quite a bit difference in weight. I mean, it's double the weight. However, if we were comparing it to the standard Para 3, the Shockwave, I think, is about an ounce heavier. I think the standard Para 3, which I don't have one here handy, the standard Para 3, I think, is like 3.5 or 3.6 ounces, something like that. So, it's not really a fair comparison here against the lightweight. The other thing about the Tucson, this is a full flat ground blade, but behind the edge thickness, which I can show you here, if I can do this on camera. So, let me get it there. So you can see that we're looking, 16, 17 thousandths, where my hands will work, Jesus. On the Para 3, we're looking at 22, 23 thousandths. So, we've got a thinner behind the edge blade here on the Tucson. And so, dimensionally, like I said, these knives are almost identical. The pocket clip is reversible on this guy, right or left tip up carry. The Tucson, it is not reversible. But, we're talking a full titanium knife here versus plastic. I mean, FRN's just fancy plastic. I'm not bagging on it. It's just the truth. So, you've got one phosphor bronze washer on this guy. This is riding on ceramic bearings. If you were lucky enough to get this particular knife right here from DLT when it dropped, they sold, I think, for around $130, something like that. Which, when you compare it to the OG lightweight, this is a huge upgrade in blade steel. And this one was, I think, $91. So, you're looking, what, $44 more, something like that, 40 some bucks more for the M390 version. But the deal here is you can buy this knife for under $100. So, you know, the TS-134 Shockwave, I can't remember exactly what I paid for this guy, but I know for sure that I did not pay over $100 for this thing. So, like I said, I'm not trying to bag on the Spyderco. I'm just being honest. For me personally, for under $100, the Tucson TS-134 gets you very similar ergos, very similar in shape and size, with every bit, well, exactly the same blade composition anyway. Now whether or not I haven't had either one of these tested for Rockwell. Like I said, I did do cut testing with this exact knife. You can check that in my videos. I have that video posted. I don't remember exactly what it did. I'd have to go through my notes, but anyway, and chances are I probably will not do any cut testing with this. I'll probably just sell this knife. So if anyone's interested, you can hit me up. I'm probably going to sell this, and I have a couple other Spydercos I'm probably going to sell as well. I have the Crew Carta Shaman that I'm probably going to sell as well. So if anybody's interested in either one of those, you can hit me up in the comments. Like I said, I'm probably going to sell both of those knives. But anyway, if you're looking for this size, this shape, if you, Jesus, my hands don't work. If you like forward choils, and you're looking to save a little money, and if you want to try out a good titanium knife, the Tucson is a pretty good option. For the people that really want the Spyderco and they want that, carrying weight is a huge concern, then this is your guy. Personally, the weight doesn't really bother me too much. I mean, unless we're talking about something crazy, whether a knife weighs 2.5 ounces or 4.5 ounces, it really doesn't matter to me too much. An extra couple ounces in my pocket doesn't really make any bit of difference. It's not like, on a daily basis I'm doing anything special that would matter. So anyway, I'm just a normal guy just going to work like everyone else. So whether or not I take a healthy shit in the morning is way more has way more weight involved in it than a couple ounces worth of knife. So anyway, that's what I got for you guys today. This is Para 3 lightweight maroon FRN M390. It's a cool knife. Is it worth the money? It's up for you to decide. If you really love this knife and you gotta have it, then I'm saying yeah, it's worth the money, and I think it's a good knife. It's really subjective on whether or not people think things are worth it. I'm sure there's a bunch of guys out there that would look at this guy right here and say that this thing's a Chinese piece of shit and they don't want anything to do with it, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But either way, guys, that's what I got for your face balls today. Thanks a lot for checking it out. Leave any comments or questions below, and we will see you next time. Thanks, and have a good one.